Go right in the opposite direction for talking about something colonized, and I'm going to talk about a TV show on Disney Plus called IWÁJÚ. Now, IWÁJÚ this is something that I've been looking forward to for about a year because IWÁJÚ is a Yoruba word. I'm Yoruba. That's my tribe, and IWÁJÚ is a Yoruba word that means in front or forward or anything like that. And this is set in a futuristic Lagos. So that Lagos is the biggest city in Nigeria. At the moment, we're probably about 20 million people in that city. And this is set in the futuristic Lagos where they've looked forward and they thought, what would happen? What would this place look like? And it is set around a girl called Tola, and she lives and essentially, let me put it this way, in the first 5 minutes of this show, I was like, okay, I think I love this because this is made by people who know their stuff. And Sean knows about when Africa gets shown on screen, I have my, you better know your stuff. Like,
you better know your stuff, yeah.
You better know your stuff.
Right.
Like,
no, and I love that. I love that because you can say, yeah, they got the right buses. They got that, and it's just like the fine detail when you watch something.
Yeah.
And you get that much fine detail and you think, yeah, they really made an effort to make this.
Yeah. They really made an effort to do something, and you can really see that. And like it's also Captain America: Civil War. At the beginning, I was like, it's obviously shot in South Africa, but they got the right color buses for Lagos.
Yes.
And Wolverine, the Wolverine Origins movie. The less said about the depiction of Lagos, the better. I mean, I once wrote like a rant on it in the early days of Facebook when you could have Facebook news. I wrote a rant about how much the Wolverine movie got Lagos wrong, but with this, within the first 5 minutes, they have this whole thing where you have in Lagos, you have the island and you have the mainland. 100% true. And there's even this shot that they have where they show like an aerial shot, and you can see because there's three bridges. There's Third Mainland Bridge, there's Carter Bridge, and there's Echo Bridge that link the island and the mainland. And they have this whole thing. I'm like, oh my god, they got the geography right. That's Third Mainland Bridge. That's Echo Bridge. That's Carter. I was like, oh my god, yeah. And the thing and what I like about this is that it's not sanitized because there's African animation. There's this whole thing with African animation. Sorry, Sharon is animated, but this whole thing with African animation that's coming up. And there's a show called Super Team 4, which is another one I should review at some point. That we started watching because it's like 4 Zambian girl superheroes, like schoolgirl superheroes. And so my daughter's been watching that, and I've been like, yeah, this is great. This is show. And my wife having grown up in the UK. She's like, but why are they depicting all of the government officials as corrupt and untrustworthy? And she was like, why are they doing that? They're just teaching kids not to trust them. I'm like, yeah. If I'm in Nigeria, I'm like, don't trust those guys. I was like, why is this a thing for you? And in this show, they don't sugarcoat it because the whole thing, bear in mind this is a kids show. The whole storyline revolves around kids getting kidnapped. And so there's this guy, what he does is that he lives on the mainland, and the mainland is traditionally the poorer area. And the island is the place where the rich people live, because the island is, if we're going to go colonialism, that's where a lot of white people settled. So places like Ikoyi and Victoria Island and Lekki and all that kind of stuff. So this guy lives on the mainland, and what he does is that he kidnaps the kids of rich people from the island, and he holds them until they give a ransom. But what he asks the kids is telling them, your parents don't care about you, all this kind of stuff. Money means more to your parents than it does to you, and all that kind of. So you can see that he has a real sort of bee in his bonnet about the rich. And he finds this girl Tola, who is she's quite headstrong. She's a bit manipulative because she sort of manipulates everybody around her because they all work for her dad to do the things that she wants. But you can see that she's also quite lonely because her dad is like this tech genius who doesn't have time for he's kind of like a Nigerian Tony Stark, to be honest with you. And he creates this thing, like there's this lizard. There's a kind of lizard with a red head called the Agama lizard like you get in Nigeria. And he creates this thing, and the whole idea is that it's supposed to protect kids from getting kidnapped. So the whole story goes on as in where all these people come together. This guy, Bode, who kidnaps kids, sees her, realizes her dad is rich, and comes up with a plan to kidnap her through her friend, who is not rich. So it becomes this whole thing about the rich people and the poor people, even though these two kids just want to play with each other. But this outside world keeps pulling them because one of them is being pulled by the need he has, and how he has to look after his mother because his mother is ill, and what that poverty is pushing him to do. And she's just thinking that the whole world is great and fine because she's been sheltered by her parents. And I identified so hard with the character of Tola because I was like, okay, my dad wasn't like mega rich or anything like that, but a lot of things about her childhood resonated because we lived on the island. I felt that I was actually quite sheltered by my dad growing up. There was a whole bunch of things about Lagos that I feel like I don't know and I still don't know. And the way that they managed to get all these things in and put them in a kids' TV show, I was just kind of like, this is great. I love this. The fact that it's Disney and you finally got the Disney money being put to, and Disney took the effort to work with a group of people who actually know what they're talking about to produce this show. And the biggest thing, I remember when I saw the trailer and I saw, not even the trailer, just the announcement this was being made, my thing was the accents. I was like, if they get the accents wrong, if these people show up and they're supposed to be in Lagos and they're speaking in American accents, I'm out. I'm out. And I might fly to Los Angeles just to pick at Disney. But the accents are authentic. And I just think it's good. I think it's great. I think it's 6 episodes. It kind of runs out of narrative steam. I think they do a lot to make sure that they capture the world and try and imagine what a future Lagos would look like. And that stuff is great. The story itself, the narrative steam kind of runs out and it peters out towards the end. So in the end, I would give it a 3. But if this is a sign of things to come, I'm happy. I'm happy. Right, good, more of this, please. So, and that will be a 3 for IWÁJÚ.
Wow.
Yeah, it's but yeah, as it going from what Holly was talking about that makes me depressed. This makes me hopeful. So.